56 and Swope Parkway, Friendship Village, greatest experience of my life. School was too easy. I got bored. I'd already started making movies, football scholarship and academic scholarships. I remember I had a scholarship offer at Morehouse, Howard, University of Missouri, UCLA. Spike Lee wasn't really prominent until I was in college.
You end up having some of the same teachers as Spike.
I had the same screenwriting teacher, same cinematography teacher. We watched Spike student films. Spike would come and speak. I had the same training and everything.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Scheme Heme TV. Got the privilege to be kicking with the homeboy Shawn Edwards today. You know, ex-writer for the XXL, Vibe Magazine, The Source, among other things. So we're gonna shoot through that, a little bit of the story. We're gonna kick it back to the beginning real quick. Shawn, let these people know where you was born.
Oh man, we taking it back to the beginning? Woo, 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 man. So family roots on my mom's side goes back to Princeton, New Jersey on the East Coast. So I definitely got a little dab on that. And then my dad's from Kansas City, Missouri. But I remember growing up, I think first couple of years of my life was over in KCK and then ended up over in KC Mo. So, you know, KC Mo is what I claim. You know, that's where, you know, I spent all my days as a youth, like growing up, 56 and Swope Parkway, Friendship Village, like the greatest experience of my life.
So what year was you born?
Man, I was born back in the late 60s, so I was in my single digits in the 70s, went to high school in the 80s, college in the late 80s, went to Lincoln College Prep. Went to Lincoln College Prep until I got kicked out my senior year because school was too easy. I got bored. I'd already started making movies. So I was skipping school to make movies. It was a crazy situation, but it didn't stop me from getting into college because I still got a scholarship. I don't know how, but I still got a scholarship to go to Morehouse. I got a football scholarship and an academic scholarship. So I played football down in Morehouse. So
I want to rewind it a little bit back. So your passion for movies, it came from, your mom was into the movies, right?
Oh yeah. Cause we went like back in the day, man, she was taking me to the movies like every weekend. So I remember in Princeton, they had this movie theater that only had one screen. And so, you know, they'd switch it out. You know, back then they didn't switch movies out as quick as they do now. So they would switch it out cause we would go to Princeton every summer. They would switch a movie out like maybe once a month. So, and in the movie theater, I could walk from my grandparents' house to the movie theater because, you know, Princeton, mad small. So we walked to a movie theater like once a month, check something out. Then in Kansas City, we watched movies. I remember going to the Metro Plaza. They had a movie theater in the Metro Plaza on 63rd Street. They were still showing movies.
On the Brookside you was talking about?
No, Brookside that was later. They had a movie theater on Brookside. That's where Price Chopper's at now, but it burnt down and then they extended the Price Chopper. But I'm talking about Metro Plaza, like further east on 63rd Street. Okay. They had a movie theater in that joint. That's what I remember going there a whole bunch of times. And then when I was a kid, they were still showing movies at the Midland and the Empire. Like they straight up showed movies in there, and then also they shut it down and the buildings was empty for a while before they flipped them. So now, you know, people watch concerts in the Midland. We used to watch movies in the Midland. Mm-hmm. And then when I was in high school, they had like, 2 or 3 movie theaters on the plaza, and they had 2 or 3 movie theaters at Bannister Mall. Yeah. I remember going out to Bannister Mall all the time. I remember they had like
Bannister Square.
Yeah, they had one across the street, and they actually had one in the mall. So that was like that's the high school joint. But nah, I got into movies as a kid because my mom always took me, and I was like, man, I want to learn how to do this. So I went to the library. I checked out like a whole bunch of books on how to make movies, ended up buying a camera and just started shooting stuff.
Was it any like directors or actors you was into back then?
Hell no. Because you didn't know that. Because you just, you know, back then.
But you knew the actors as far as Sidney Poitier or anything?
I mean, yeah, you knew, like, yeah. But you didn't have no connection because it didn't work like how it does now because you couldn't really dig up information. Like I knew Sidney Poitier existed and he was in this movie, that movie, that movie. I knew Richard Roundtree was Shaft, you know what I'm saying? And I knew what's his name was like Superfly. And then as a teen, you knew Eddie Murphy. But remember, it really wasn't that many black movies. Like when we was kids, that was far and few between, man. You was lucky to see somebody black in a movie. Like you might catch some black people on TV. Not really. You know, but black people in movies was like, I remember a whole stretch. I think my whole time in high school, the only black person that made a movie was Eddie Murphy. Like you didn't have like it is now. Like it was,
Saturday Night Live and
yeah, he
everything.
was
That was his.
18 when he
So
was
when
on
you was in
Saturday Night
high
Live,
school,
and then
that
he
was
did
when Eddie
48
Murphy.
hours. Right, that's when
was
he started popping.
okay.
And then he did 48 hours. Then he did Trading Places. He did all them big hits. And then he hit hard with the
Trading
Beverly
Places
Hills
in
Cop.
48 hours, wasn't it?
Nah, 48 Hours was his first movie. Yeah, he did 48 Hours. I remember that. 48 Hours first with Nick Nolte. That's when he blew up. And then he actually did another movie after that called Self Defense that bombed that don't nobody talk about. Then he did Trading Places with Dan Aykroyd and
That took
Jamie
him
Lee
to a
Curtis.
whole nother level.
Yeah, he blew up, and then the whole Beverly Hills Cop, it was a wrap, man. It was like, but I mean, that's all you saw. But I mean, I knew I wanted to do it, but in terms of like directing film and black directors, there was black directors doing stuff, but you didn't really have that recollection because like Spike Lee wasn't really prominent until I was in college. Like his first movie was She's Gotta Have It. I watched that movie my freshman year at college. Cause that's when Atlanta had this dope movie theater. Like it was the first time I ever went to a movie theater where you could eat food and drink while you watched the movie back in '86. I forgot the name of that place, but I remember me and my roommate went to go see She's Gotta Have It at that place. And it was like, oh, okay. And then that's where you kind of learn, oh, the dude that's in that is the dude that directed it. And just so happened, not long after that, we found out that he was shooting School Days at Morehouse.
Is that the same school that Spike Lee went to?
Yeah, Morehouse, same school Spike Lee went to.
Lee.
Yeah, Spike Lee graduated
So
from
what
Morehouse.
year did you go out to Morehouse?
I went in the summer, because I wanted to play football. I left Kansas City the summer of '86.
Okay.
So I had to go early to play, because you got to go early when you play ball. No students, nobody, only people there is the team, man. Mad boring, hot. Atlanta was hot back then.
Is this the first time you ever went to Atlanta?
Yeah, I didn't even visit. I was just like, because I remember my grandparents in New Jersey used to always talk about HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities. I knew Morehouse was mad prestigious, so I remember I had a scholarship offer at Morehouse, had a scholarship offer at Howard, had a scholarship offer at University of Missouri, had a scholarship offer at UCLA. And I was like, man, I was kind of nervous about D1. Didn't really want to go all the way out to California. I did not want to go to MU because I was like, it's too many white folks at MU. And so I picked Morehouse over Howard because Atlanta is warmer than DC. I had been to DC before, but I had never been to Atlanta before. Flew down there with my mom. We checked into the hotel by the school, kind of walked around, checked everything out. Then the next day I was on the field, practice. It was time to get busy. So that was the first time. But man, Atlanta was crazy. But remember, that's pre-Olympics Atlanta. That ain't the Atlanta people know now. It was a completely different city back then. But it was still cool, but it ain't the Atlanta people know now.
So when you get to Morehouse, so you end up having some of the same teachers as Spike Lee and everything?
100%. I had the same screenwriting teacher, same cinematography teacher. I had the same. We watched Spike student films. Yeah, Spike would come and speak. It was cool. So I had the same training and everything.
What was it like in your college years?
I mean, college is number one. I played football until I got hurt. So the first couple of years I was playing football, that was like a dream. You playing all these schools down south, and it's like you having fun. I mean, because I made the traveling team as a freshman. Man, it's like you get all the perks of being on the road, staying in hotels, eating good food. I mean, it was cool, man. It was a great experience. But college in and of itself was fantastic. I mean, because you had Morehouse here, then across the street Spelman, and you had Clarkland University down the street. You had Morris Brown, and then I was like, because I grew up in Kansas City. I grew up 5612 Parkway, Friendship Village. I was like a city dude, so I was interacting with the city people. Like the city people was cool, man. Cause I dated a girl that worked at Foot Locker. Well, number one, because she was kicking me down with free shoes.
You have 150s on your feet.
I had everything. Nah, I still remember her name to this day. Her name was Shammy, man. She worked at the Foot Locker at Greenbrier Mall. Yeah. So I was like, because a lot of guys was kind of like, they believed in this whole different other bougie thing. They was like, no, I'm only gonna date somebody who goes to Spelman and all that. But I was like, man, I'm dating college girls. I'm dating other people other than college girls, because the city girls, man, number one.
Relate to.
Number one, you could relate to. Number two, they always brought you food. Like they always brought, I don't know what that was. I guess that's some Southern hospitality. But she was always bringing food. She was mad cool. She bring me free sneakers. Like we just had more fun when we did stuff. I guess because she wasn't really worried about studying. But to keep it real though, I mean, I'm not even gonna front, man. The city girls was better at sex than the college girls. Cause a lot of the college girls, cause remember you talking about girls that went to like, particularly Spelman, man, they was like, a lot of them was sheltered and guarded their whole life.
The city girls, they parents at home all the time. Uncle there, everybody. So the
That's why she came
suburb
to
girl, the
that's why she
suburb
came to
girls,
the
the half days, you can go to their house. You can start having sex with the suburb
Not these
girls.
Spelman, nah. It was
It
different.
wasn't like that
Nah. Like city suburban girls, yeah.
It's
but
so
these
hard to
Spelman
get them
chicks,
because, man, everybody at home all the
I
time.
don't know, man. The city girl, it was way more fun with the city
Funny.
chicks.